You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's our most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. All right. And as you know, the Habitat Fair is going on. And this is the second clinic happening in Tema. In every community, the skyline is dotted with uncompleted buildings, some at the foundation, others at lintel or roofing level. Each one tells a story, a dream, a home in the making. Wherever you are on this journey, whether you are breaking ground, building up, or simply furnishing your space, join us at the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair 2025. At EcoBank premises, Tema Community 7. It started yesterday, Friday. It's going on today too as well and will continue tomorrow. It's at 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. daily. You, yes you, listening, watching us from Lashibi, Afenya, Ashaman, Pung, Michelle Camp, Sakumano, Spintex, Pram, Jekojo, and Tema Environs. This is your fair. So come join us at the EcoBank premises, Tema Community 7, traffic light premises, and enjoy. This is just you. It's a one-stop shop for everything you need for your home construction or furnishing. Come over and let's turn your home ownership dream into a living reality. EcoBank, the second clinic, EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair at Tema is powered by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and brought to you by Drive EV Ghana, drive into a sustainable future. Virtual Security Africa, security for all, safety and home solutions. You think of a door, we have it for you. Superlock Technologies Limited, you deserve the best. DPS pipes connecting you to life, elegant homes and general construction where daily quality meets value, and Gold Key Properties transforming the landscape. I need to tell you about those who are paying for Newsfile as well. Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating entrepreneurial and ethical leaders for Africa. Robert and Sons, I was at Ashesi University on, was it Thursday? Yes, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. That's such a serene learning environment. And when you interact with their students, you can tell that they are getting the best of education. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert and Sons Optical Services, except that the road leading to Ashesi from the Dom Kwabenya area, and also even from, if you use the Peduasi place, can we fix that road? That's really bad. Okay. Robert and Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial star 165 hash on MTN to join My Way today. Flamingo Paint, simply superior, Syntex tanks. It's strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance. Our clients are passion. And International Facilities Management Association is proud to be associated with Newsfile. Thank you very much. My outfit, as always, is by Konati Clothing. All you have to do is simply call them 0244 676732. And they will make you look good. So now let's talk about the mid-year budget review. As they say it's a glimmer of hope for a broke economy. How so? I'm going to begin with Yao Latte here in the studio. He'll take us on a journey of about 5 minutes to help us to come to terms with some of the things that happen. Yes, Yao.
Thank you very much, Sam. So we will do the general economy and we will provide updates on taxes. So government actually had some projections at the beginning of the year. So last year budget that was presented for this year, 2025, it has some targets. So GDP was projected to reach 4%. As at June, we are at about 5.3% based on the first quarter results. Non-oil GDP is even higher at about 6.8%. Primary surplus, we are targeting or to end the year at about 0.4%. We are about 1.1%. Inflation, we are targeting to end the year at about 11.9%. We are currently 13.7%. And gross international reserve, that has improved significantly. We are targeting to end the year at 3 months of import cover. We are now at 4.8 months of import cover. So that's positive trend all across the various indicators, And a summary of the evolution of the currency down there, you see that in the last 3 years or the last 4 years, the local currency has depreciated significantly. And in this year, the first 6 months of the year, the cedi has appreciated dollar by 42.6%, the pound by 30%, and the euro by 25.6%. So cumulatively, against all the major trading currencies, an average appreciation of 37%. This is the economy. So you see significant contribution of the services sector. Government should have policies that support the agri sector and the industry sector, which are the productive sectors of the economy. And this is a summary of the mid-year budget review against the target that were set. So total revenue and grants we are expecting an additional revenue of 2.9 billion in 2025. So we initially targeted 227 billion. Now we are targeting 229 billion. Also on the expenditure front, we are expecting an underspend of about 1.4 billion. That results in a budget deficit that is reducing from a targeted 3.1% to 2.8%. That's a remarkable one. And if you're able to achieve that, that's positive because I mentioned the budget deficit cap earlier. And then total expenditure, total revenue. So you can see our budget total expenditure in the last 4 years and currently this year. So our budget deficit, as I mentioned, we've gone over the 5% cap. But this year, we are expecting to be within the 5%, which are 3.1%. And currently, we are projecting about 2.8%. So you can see expenditure. So this is the question that's been asked, or in terms of revenue. So government revenue in the first 6 months of the year, we missed it by about 3.2%. So we are expecting a total of 102.5 billion. In the first 6 months of the year, we only got 99.3 billion. So that's remarkable, but then we missed by about 3%. On the expenditure front, so you can see that there was underspend in all the expenditure items, with the exception of compensation. And that can be attributable to some of the union or organized labor strikes that we had, and government had to accede to them. So you can see that in all expenditure front, we underspent on them, and with a total underspend of 13%. But on compensation, we overspent, which is about 1%. Same debt to GDP ratio, that's a very good development. So you can see our debt to GDP ratio is now 43.8%. So dropping from 61.8% by the end of 2024. And then same, so the debt to GDP ratio improvement is attributable to fiscal discipline, prudent debt management, and exchange rate appreciation. The local currency has appreciated, as I said, by 42.5% against the dollar. What that means is that our debt has gone down by about 113 billion. The same phenomenon. So what happened in 2022 was that our debt increased by 93 billion as a result of appreciation of the local currency. So our local currency depreciated by about 50% in 2022. And now our local currency has appreciated. So we are having a benefit of reduction in our debts over this period. And then there's a summary of the key developments in the market. So strong disinflation. So inflation has reduced from 23.8% as at the end of 2024 to now 13.7%. Appreciation of the cedi 42% against the dollar, drop in interest rates. So rate on T-bill, 91-day treasury bill, which was about 27.7% in December 2024, is now 14.7%. Marginal drop in lending rates. So this is where a lot of work needs to be done. So lending rate has not dropped significantly as the rate or T-bill rate. So lending rate has only dropped from 30.3% to now 27%. Now we have other development like increase in commodity prices, public debt has reduced, and then we have upgrades of Ghana's rating. So we haven't from now been upgraded from junk status to stable. And then this has also reflected on the stock market. The GSE composite index has responded with a 27.8% increase. Now you go to the tax side. So the tax side, we just summarize the key development. So the government proposed by the budget as was presented last year to extend the growth and sustainability levy the law has been passed, and the growth and sustainability levy has realized about 2 billion cedis. Increase the growth and sustainability levy for mining companies from 1% to 3%. The act or the law has been passed. Removal of 1.5% withholding tax from proceeds from small-scale miners. The law has been passed. Removal of emissions levy on industries and vehicles. The law has been passed. And then also align the current tax-free regime for personal income tax that has been implemented. Cancellation of electronic levy that has been implemented with the Electronic Levies Repeal Act. So that has been repealed. Removal of 10% withholding tax from winnings. This has been implemented through Income Tax Amendment Act. And then import charges. So extend application of 2% on special import on general goods. So this has also, the sunset clause has been extended. And then where a lot of businesses are asking, or the question they are asking, is the VAT reforms. So implement VAT on non-life insurance products and remove VAT on motor vehicles. So VAT on non-life insurance products was implemented from 1st July. So this month it's been implemented. But VAT on motor vehicle insurance premium were excluded. Now the VAT forms, government has initiated consultation process to do the following: abolish VAT on health recovery levy, reverse decoupling of Ghana Education Trust Fund levy, reduce effective VAT rate, reverse VAT flat rate, and increase the VAT registration threshold. So this is something that businesses are expecting. We haven't we haven't concluded on that. And then lastly, we introduced road tolls, leveraging on technology, introduction of overarching legislation for non-tax revenue, and improved tax compliance through enhanced public education. So these are the policies that were introduced, and these are the updates.
One small question in a minute, then I go around because we have very limited time.
Yeah.
Some say this government cannot take credit for the improvement that has happened in the last 6-7 months.
And I will say that it's a yes and no. One, it's yes to the extent that commodity prices has risen in the last couple of years, so in the last couple of months. So gold price last year around this time was 2,300 ounce. Today, gold is selling as 3,200 ounce, a 40% increase in the price of gold. But what government can take credit for is the establishment of a gold board, through which has brought some regulation and increase in export of gold. So export of gold throughout the same period has also increased, and that has increased our reserve. So it's a combination of two factors. So government has policies, especially on the fiscal regime. Government has enforced
the trajectory we have seen.
Yeah.
You must be, I don't even know how to put it, you must be so wicked and not interested in this country's growth to suggest that nothing is happening. Yeah. When I pull up at the pump and I ask them to fuel my car, at least I know how long I stay for my tank to be full.
Yes.
Completely different from some time until now.
Yes.
Right. How is this sustainable? Do you see a sustained trajectory going forward?
So the IMF, per their review reports, the recent one has pointed some risk in the numbers. So we are benefiting from increased commodity prices. This may not continue. So geopolitical issues that are happening, implementation of tariff, may affect our foreign direct investment, which we have benefited in the last 6 months. But if some of these issues, particularly the geopolitical issues, may affect demand for commodities, and we rely heavily on hydrocarbons, oil, you rely heavily on gold, and we rely heavily on cocoa. So you can see, for instance, the local currency appreciated, and we are not going to get enough revenue from cocoa because of the effect that we are seeing. So there are some risks in the numbers, and if we don't address those issues, we are going to have the challenge. Isaac,
what are the pillars of hope in this review that I should look at and feel comfortable, or I should look at as an investor and feel attracted?
Well, what I would say is that the hope that this budget brings is that you can see a deliberate attempt to anchor the economy. You can see that those deliberate choices of the government are beginning to lead to broad-based stability of the economy, not just one-phase stability. And you can also see programs that have been identified to anchor the economy and ensure sustainability. Let me give you some examples. We are aware that going forward, one of the major risks to our economy and to the fiscal side of it is the harms that are ahead of us. When I say harms, I'm talking about bigger bullet payments that the government has to make and whether the government is preparing to meet them. So you are going to pay 20 billion next year to service debt. The following year you are paying 50 billion to service the debt. The following year you have to find 45 billion. And these are just the domestic debt. When you come to the foreign debt, you are looking at 1.4 billion, moving to 1.1 billion and 1.14 billion. Now, and these are in dollars. So how do you get the comfort that you will be able to scale these risks and be able to keep the economy on sound footing? And you would see that there is a deliberate attempt to go back to the sinking fund. And the government has announced that it has set up 2 sinking funds, one for the cedi and one for the dollar. So that means that over the period, government is going to ensure that monies are made available and ready so that the buffers are built to take off these debts when they occur. The second one you would see is also that my brother mentioned the fact that lending rates are not coming down as expected. How do we affect the lending rates? So here you see a coordination between the Ministry of Finance or the fiscal side and monetary policy. Now, when monetary policy, if you look at the last open market operations of the central bank, the interest rate was around 24%. It was about 14% basically from 24%. What that means, and also the government's own treasury bill rates are low. These are the variables that affect the Ghana reference rate, which is the base rate. So the base rate takes 40% of treasury bill rate, and it has come down significantly. So if you take 40%, it gives you a lower figure. It takes 40% of policy rate, and the monetary policy rate that we are seeing from the last 56-day operation was about 13%. So you take 40% of that, it will be smaller. Then you take a further 20% of the treasury bill rate. So all the variables that are impacting the reference rate are taking a downward trend. So when all these begin to feed in, you will see a reduction in government interest rate and a reduction in Bank of Ghana's own operation rates, affecting the lending rate through the Ghana reference rate. So you will begin to see that happen in future. Now you should also see that there is a clear attempt between the government or the fiscal side and monetary policy to share the burden of stabilizing the economy. So initially you would have seen that the central bank's, the Bank of Ghana borrowing on treasury bills was higher than the interest rate that the Bank of Ghana was charging to mop up the excess liquidity. What it means is that the central bank was taking the hit for the additional interest costs, and the government of Ghana was not. Now you are beginning to see the central bank say that, look, let's shift it downward so that there is liquidity to fund the government. Okay, right. That then means that if there's any burden, it's going to shift also to the fiscal side. So that is a deliberate strategy. Okay. It is not by chance.
Thank you.
And the aim is to ensure that once you are mopping up the excess liquidity and you are stabilizing the economy, you are sustaining that, because then there is no excess liquidity to feed into the forex market.
Right. What can you say in 2 minutes so I can get a minute each for Odrosai and
2 minutes will very easy.
Because our time is up. Because our time is up.
Right, but
yes, this is where you. It's the major reason you are here.
So let me now make it quick, and I want to put in a quick. The finance minister should know that he sits on a seat that is continuous. My advice to him is that he should stop trying to bring propaganda into his work. He's made some utterances in the last couple of days that is not based on any fact, with the gold for oil issue, where I actually brought my letter from Bank of Ghana to actually show that most of the things that he's saying, Bank of Ghana disagrees with him.
Can you read that?
Yes, I can. Oh, no, you can read it.
No,
you want to read it?
You speak to it.
You want to speak to it?
Yes.
Okay, so quickly. The Minister of Finance said that there was no gold bought in the gold for oil. And he said that to Evans. Evans had a pushback with him, and he went on to say that it's not true. It was cash that Bank of Ghana was paying, for the gold for oil. They were giving cedis to Bank of Ghana, and Bank of Ghana was paying cash to the importers, which was not true, the statement he made. Bank of Ghana, in our letter to them, we asked them, the losses incurred were primarily on gold and petroleum transactions. Detail provided below. Loss on gold transaction amounted to 1.8 billion, which were mainly due to exchange rate differential, the exchange rate which in the gold market for gold purchases and the bank internal rates. What does this say? It means that in buying gold, the Bank of Ghana gave money to PMMC. PMMC went into the market to buy gold. The rate they used at the local market was different from the internal rate of Bank of Ghana. So in buying gold for oil, the bank made a loss for 1.8 billion.
Is it a right to information request you made?
Yes, I did. Yes, right to
When is
information.
it dated?
But what does that mean when you say
July
that?
It means that the minister said that there was no gold involved in the gold for oil. But there is a letter from Bank of Ghana that said that they made a loss in buying gold. And again, there is no, let me land. Let me land.
Because you are misquoting the minister.
I'm not. But you can play the video. He said there is no gold involved.
You are misinterpreting what you are doing.
No, I'm not. Because
you are misinterpreting.
How am I misinterpreting?
They go and buy oil with dollars, not gold.
No.
What is happening?
Okay, so Sam Process, another point I was going to make. Yeah. There is a company in Dubai called Sam Processing Metal. Yeah. There's a metal account set up with Sam Processing Metal, which shows
so they go and put metal there?
No,
they send them dollars.
To trade gold, you have to have a metal account.
Yeah, but I'm saying
you're
that.
A professional, you should know this.
What
Let's
I'm
not
saying
go there.
They pay dollars. They pay dollars, not gold.
Please listen.
The minister never left. They pay dollars.
They say that the program helped to reduce demand for US dollars from the bulk oil distributors, BDCs and so on.
Thank you. These are things the Bank of Ghana is saying.
No, my brother, they pay dollars.
He lied. No, he never. Listen,
he never.
There were two stages of. My brother. What I'm saying to you is that's what I'm saying. There was time, but we can always arrange it. Let me quickly make my point. My point I was going to make before this gold for oil and he.
You are misinterpreting.
I'm not misinterpreting.
Okay, so go to that point quickly.
No, I'm not. Please don't do that. You can read for yourself.
No, I know.
No, but you can read for yourself.
It's okay.
If you have it, your minister will
what he said to you is information that
proceed with your point quickly because our time is up.
He never lied.
The point I want he lied. The point I wanted to make is that the economy is on a certain trajectory, right? You cannot read the budget and say that the country is in a struggling blah blah blah, trying to make it like there's something that there's no V curves in the plot of the graph of the budget. We went from 3.1 real growth. I'm talking about real GDP growth. 2023 there was 3.1. We went from 3.1 to 5.7. You are now projecting to go to 6.8. So it tells you that the country is on the right path. When you look at manufacturing did 6.8. The NDC government in the last 6 months have not done anything to help manufacturing.
What is the growth?
For manufacturing, 6.8.
No, Kenneth.
6.8 in your midterm. In your first quarter.
Okay, so could you
6.8. So the point I'm trying to make quickly is that they should give credit where credit.
Thank you. You have to pardon me, and we have to rearrange this. Azikadomo is MP for Bolga Central and Chairman Finance Committee of Parliament. Kojo Poku, Executive Director, Institute for Energy Policy and Research, and member of the MPP Communication Team. Dr. Eric Odrosai is Chartered Accountant, Lawyer, and former Director General of the Internal Audit Agency. Yao Apialate is Partner Strategy and Transactions, Africa Infrastructure and Capital Project Leader. Deloitte Africa, Professor Enes Kofi Abochi is Dean of UPSA Law. Unfortunately, this is all time will allow us this afternoon. I'm Samson Ladianyeni. Have a good afternoon.